Hello there, Ambrose Burfield back here again from the Sales Mastery Company. And today I want to cover off the fourth and final personality profile, correctly called behavioral style or behavioral profile. And that is how do you sell to compliance types, control types, or compliant personalities. Now, my profile is ID or DI. So this is the one that is more alien to me. These guys are slow, steady, methodical. It's all about accuracy and methodology and doing things the right way just because that is the right way. Those are the rules and those are the steps. I'm way too impatient for that, but I'm in awe of this profile because I know how much they work at not making mistakes. They're not the world's risk takers. They're the people who get things done and make sure we can replicate it again and again. Hugely valuable to society. Now, if you've been interacting with us on social media, you will have this document downloaded already. If not, please send us an email to admin@salesmasterycompany.com and request the document that goes alongside this visual training called How to Sell to Compliant Personalities. These guys are the rule followers. Now, I lived in a country where this, in essence, is the rule of its nation. This is the culture of Switzerland. I moved there at the age of 6 and on and off through to the age of 22, lived there in holidays in particular, and some of my education was there. If you're dealing with this profile, the first thing is to read the customers, remembering these are the hardest ones to spot. Now, on one axis, when you meet a customer by phone, via email, or better still, face-to-face, you can see if they're extroverted or introverted. If they're extroverted, they'll be expressive, they'll use their hands to talk like I do, they'll be passionate, they'll hold your eye contact. If they're introverted, they might look in your eye and then look away and look down. They might be interested in reading the document or the capability statement that you gave them, as opposed to engaging in eye contact. They may not ask that many questions, even though they've got plenty of questions to ask. They won't want you in the space. They won't necessarily want to shake your hand, and they might not certainly hug you if you're an eye profile and wants to hug everybody. Compliance profiles are definitely hard to read. You're going to have to notice that they're quiet, and then you've got to listen to their language. The profile of a compliant or compliance personality is somebody who's going to follow the rules, talk about proof, past examples, methodologies, want to document things, question things, come up with different solutions. And they're going to talk about projects and productivity, outcomes, nuts and bolts and products. They might talk about services, but not the people providing those services. Linguistically, they're geared more around inanimate objects than they are around people. That doesn't mean they're not emotional. It doesn't mean they don't have a beating heart. They just don't show emotion, and they don't show their heart as willing. Now, some clients that we've had over the years who've been a compliance profile, once we've worked them down and got used to them, they've got used to us and started to trust us, they've been incredibly open people. But at the heart, these guys are very compliant, very logical. A lot of our sector that we've served in the accounting sector early in their career, they'll often be a compliance profile. They like to dot the I's, cross the T's, follow the rules. Why? Because A, they have to do that, and B, they like to do that. So I'm in awe of that. If I'm going to hire someone for my team with a profile that's most distant from me, it's going to be this. So having made the assumptions, having met somebody as to what is their profile, it's important that we actually gear ourselves up for that profile. Because they want to talk about facts or ask about methodology and processes, you'll need to be able to do that. And if you can't do that because it's not aligned to your personality and you're not prepared to put in the prep work or the preparation work, you need to take someone who's compliant-based in your team and take them alongside to back you up. They tend to be unemotional, as I mentioned before, or they're certainly not expressive of their emotions. So they might be emotional internally, but they're not expressively emotional. They'll often ask you for detailed explanations of different things that we need to improve. They'll have a high attention to detail, which is something that's not necessarily in my DNA, as you'll see from one of the bullet points above. And likewise, at the end of the day, they want to know what methodologies are we using. They will ask you questions about the how are we going to do things rather than why we're going to do them. You know, they'll ask you, what's the process we're doing this? Now, an S profile loves the questions around why. Compliance profile first wants to ask you how, and then they want to ask you why. Not because they're trying to understand the moral or the ethical motivation for it, but simply because they're trying to understand what methodologies have you based your assumptions on. So these are not the sort of people who use language such as the, hey, let's wing it, or let's give that a go, or have I got a deal for you? These guys don't deal with deals. They don't want to wing it. They don't want to give things a go. They want to strike once they know they're going to hit the target. It's very important to keep in mind. They're going to want to be detailed focused. So they're the people who'll notice you've got 3 attachments to your email and they'll read every attachment. If you've got a 27-page proposal, they've probably read every single page. These guys deserve the best of you. They seek details from you, facts and proof from you. So they will typically enjoy testimonials and in particular case studies when real past clients of yours say to clients like them, yes, we've worked with them and they can be trusted. Trust is going to be a big part of the relationship and the buying process for these people. The thing that's interesting, as I mentioned before, they're going to need a bit of space and a bit of time to make their decision. So you're going to have to make sure you track the sales process with these people and book in the next step, but don't rush them to the next step or they'll resent you for that. They're going to want space. So if you hand over a document that's complex, you're going to have to sit in silence. Awkward though that will feel, they won't feel awkward. They like silence. So if you hand over a proposal, it's 15 pages, you're going to have to let them read, or you're going to have to control them turning over one page at a time, one page at a time. So maybe print off 2 documents. You have your copy, they have their copy. Don't touch their copy. They don't want you to do that. And just say to them, look, if you can turn to page 2, that's the summary. Do you have any questions on page 2? Not a problem. Now let's go to page 3. And they'll say, oh, look, sorry, give me some time. You go, not a problem. You don't need to rush. We want this to be done right. So the language they're going to like is accurate and right and methodology and process. And no, we don't need to rush. We want to give you the right solution. That's the language they want to hear from you. But they will want support. Support means either access to your knowledge, your information, your case studies, your experience, or better still, your wider team experience, your wider team case studies, your wider team proof of what you do. They might even want to call a couple of past referees. But if a thing I'll stress here is, because they're compliance personalities, if they ask for names of referees, I would only give them the referee who's a compliance profile or a steady profile. So C or S is the profile to give them. If you give them a profile of somebody who's an I, they won't trust that person. Therefore, the person they called is not trusted. Therefore, what they say is not trusted. Now, if this is something you're trying to integrate into your sales process, I believe it's like a secret language, remembering 2 golden rules. Number 1, once you've identified someone's personality, do not assume that will remain a personality for the whole of their life, or assume that every single thing they do is only related to that personality, because people can change their moods from one day to the other. Doesn't mean their personality's changed. It simply means their behavior has changed. And it's behavior that we sell to. Number 2, you need to get used to your own profile and also that of your customers. So you need to adapt to them, not force the world to adapt to you. It's important to have humility in all parts of your life, especially when it comes to dealing with different personalities. There's no one personality better than the others, although this profile is said to be only 1 in 5 people on the planet, and therefore is the least common personality trait. But in places like Singapore and Switzerland, believe me, it's very common. So whether you join our sales academy, where we can coach your team on an ongoing basis if you're 2 to 8 people in sales, or whether or not you just want to do a more affordable form of the extended disc profile, where you can pay to get your profile done and give us 2 jobs you'd like to be matched to, then there's a discount code, or if you click on the link itself. And likewise, if you really want to master this, then either hire us in-house over 2 days or go online in 1 day, typically spaced over 3 sessions over a 3-day period. You can actually complete the sales mastery program process called the persuasive selling process. And it will teach you how to master meetings, how to master reading profiles, and how to master yourself within that. Now, the Academy, as I mentioned before, you're welcome to book in for a free scale-up call. We're happy to have a chat to you right now to understand where's your team right now, where are you right now, what are you trying to achieve. Maybe even give you some free advice to step you in the right direction, or simply flick us an email to admin@salesmasterycompany.com. We really want to see businesses thrive and grow, regardless of inflation, regardless of pandemics, regardless of up and downs of cycles of sectors or global economies. We really want to be there to support you. So message us on LinkedIn, message us via Facebook, or message us via admin@salesmasterycompany.com. And more importantly, with today, keep your guide handy and use it before you walk into the next compliant profile that you deal with. I've been Amos Bofield with the Sales Mastery Company, and be sure to take action.